The Vietnam War was infamous for the guerrilla warfare the American forces were largely unprepared for. The Viet Cong were on home turf and used this to their advantage. During the Vietnam War, the Viet Cong, a communist guerrilla force in North Vietnam, employed a variety of booby traps to counter the technological superiority of American and South Vietnamese forces. The Viet Cong were put up against one of the world's greatest superpowers at the time, yet still fought them off with barbaric yet ingenious combat tactics that kept enemy soldiers at bay. The Viet Cong not only had the upper hand in the Vietnam jungle, their dense network of secret tunnels and booby traps were also a deadly but common occurrence. Here are 5 of the most deadliest Viet Cong's booby traps. Yes, this is exactly what it sounds like. Viet Cong guerrillas would often carry bamboo pit vipers in their bags to hopefully kill anyone who searches through them. According to the U.S. National Archives, between 25 to 50 American soldiers were bitten by snakes annually during the Vietnam War. The yellow-bellied bamboo pit viper was dubbed the two-stepper by American troops due to its lethal venom, which can kill you in 2 steps. While it takes much more than 2 steps to succumb to bamboo pit viper venom, it is lethal. These snakes were used as biological weapons by the Viet Cong, who would hang them from tunnel ceilings. Once a soldier entered a tunnel looking for explosives or hidden enemies, contraption would drop the snake on their head. King cobras were also a prolific species seen throughout the war. One of the largest venomous snakes in the world. It can reach 4 meters long. Troops found these massive snakes in the jungle, rice paddies, outhouses, and even curled up on the seats of helicopters. We came across a large python, had a head the size of German Shepherd. I was walking point with our Vietnamese scout when I noticed what looked to be a concealed fighting position and crept toward it. It was a few feet high and maybe 5 or so feet in length. I was started to dig through it when our scout rapidly waved me back. The fighting position was not a fighting position. It was a king cobra nest. Didn't see the damn snake and didn't have constipation for a few days afterward either. Pungy sticks became U.S. foot patrol's greatest fear. Pungy stick is a sharpened piece of bamboo with a length generally from 1 to 2 feet. After hardened by fire, bamboo will hold an extremely sharp point for long periods of time. To increase their wound potential, the points are often smeared with drug or poison. A pungy stick was very easy to make. As a kind of trap, pungy sticks were perfectly fit in with the conditions of South Vietnam. In tropical jungles covered by dense forests and bushes, pungy sticks were easy to camouflage and often virtually undetectable by enemy. Thus, they would be placed around defense positions, in areas where enemy troops would likely to pass through, or in pre-arranged attack areas such as helicopter landing fields. In addition, Viet Cong often used their favorite technique of firing from the jungle tree lines to distract enemy troops from the danger hiding right under their feet. The wound caused by a pungy stick was seldom fatal, and it was designed to do so. Once an enemy soldier was wounded, it took 1 or sometimes 2 soldiers to carry him out of the fight. So instead of killing 1 soldier, a single pungy stick could take 2 or 3 soldiers out of combat. This effectively decreased the number of soldiers who were able to fight, and simultaneously increased the battle fatigue of those left on the field. Additionally, in cases a fight did not occur, the fear of getting wounded by pungy sticks was so great that the soldiers on patrol were under stress the whole time. This distressing situation had caused a long-lasting psychological impact on many Allied soldiers. In a surgical report made by the U.S. military in 1967, it was surmised that for every 3 weeks of combat, 324 men would be put in the hospital for a pungy stick wound. When Americans would clear out Viet Cong-occupied villages, they would often replace their flags with their own stars and stripes, and the Viet Cong caught on this fact pretty quickly. In villages that they knew would be taken by the Americans, they would plant a bomb at the base of their flags that would activate when the flag was pulled out the ground. When the Americans would attempt to replace their flag in a liberated village, their hands, feet, and legs would easily be blown off by the blast. Americans using helicopters during the war was a serious threat to the Viet Cong. From being able to drop supplies to dropping soldiers into horde zones for combat, helicopters were a huge asset to the American forces. So it soon became necessary for the Viet Cong to arm themselves against the helicopters. Vietnamese forces attempted to harm helicopters by opening fire from below to sticking pointed spikes in the ground for helicopters to land on. Both means were ineffective. So the Viet Cong turned to explosives. This image is an example of an explosive trap. Attached to the poles are grenades that will explode when the wire is pulled. When a helicopter would attempt to land, the grenades would explode, thus destroying or severely damaging the aircraft. In an effort to protect helicopters against the explosive traps below, American forces took to dropping bombs on an area where they desired to land. This created a crater in the ground that was cleared of all debris and explosives, making it a safe landing place.